Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Nashtuprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with our discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, the opulence of the Absolute, text number 12, 13 onwards. So in the previous 4 verses, we discussed what is called Chatushloki Gita, which is the 4 shlokas in which it is said they are the essence of the Gita. So now hearing that essence, now let's see what Arjun says, text 12, 13. Arjuna Vacha Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum Ahustvam Rishya Sarve Devashir Narvastatha Asito Devalovyasa Swam Bravishime. Arjun said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. All the great sages such as Narad, Asit, Deval and Vyas confirm this truth about you. And now you yourself are declaring it to me. So here, Arjun, in 10th chapter only, if we consider the whole Bhagavad Gita lasted for 45, 48 minutes. So 10th chapter, maybe half an hour into the conversation, something like that. So Arjun understood who is Krishna. Yeah, he clearly said, you are the Supreme Personality of God. So far, he didn't say that. Means this is the position of Arjun in only half an hour of preaching. If we can understand the position of Krishna as the Supreme Personality of God, not just theoretically saying it, understanding it, realizing it, then I mean, even if we can understand in 30 lifetimes, that will be great. Arjun understood in 30 minutes. And he's saying, you're the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You're the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. And he had heard it. Arjun is not just saying, that Arjun was not just flattering Krishna. He was not at all flattering Krishna. He said, I've heard it from Narad Muni, Asid, Deval, Vyas, and now you yourself are declaring it to me, like in the previous 4 verses. This is the way to first approach Krishna, to understand his opulence. And then to understand he is the Supreme Personality of God. He is not just an ordinary teenage boy chasing after married women. No. That's when people make mistake trying understanding Krishna. In these 2 verses, the Supreme Lord gives a chance to the Mayavadi philosopher. For here it is clear that the Supreme is different from the individual soul. Arjuna, after hearing the essential 4 verses of Bhagavad Gita, 10:8 through 11, in this chapter became completely free from all doubts and accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He at once boldly declares, "You are Param Brahma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead." And previously, Krishna stated that he is the originator of everything and everyone. Every demigod and every human being is dependent on him. Men and demigods, out of ignorance, think that they are absolute and independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That ignorance is removed perfectly by the discharge of devotion service. So when Krishna says, you just do devotion service with Preeti, then I give them, those who worship me with love, I give them the understanding by which they come to me. So the ignorance is removed when we discharge devotion service. This has already been explained in the previous verse by the Lord. Now, by His grace, Arjuna is accepting Him as a supreme truth in concordance with the Vedic injunction. It is not that because Krishna is Arjuna's intimate friend, Arjuna is flattering him by calling him the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. Whatever Arjuna says in these two verses is confirmed by Vedic truth. Vedic injunctions affirm that only one who takes to devotional service to the Supreme Lord can understand Him, whereas others cannot. Each and every word of this verse is spoken by Arjuna is confirmed by Vedic injunction. So that is the basis of every or any proof, if it is given in the scriptures, if it is given in the Vedas. And Guru and Sadhu are the two eyes by which to read, to understand the Vedas. So that's why Arjuna, although he himself said it, Asit, Deval, Narad, Vyas, everybody has also confirmed it. I'm not just making it up. I mean, sadhus are there, scriptures are confirming it, so then it's the truth. In the Kena Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Brahman is rest for everything. And Krishna has already explained that everything is resting on him. The Mundak Upanishad confirms that the Supreme Lord, in whom everything is resting, can be realized only by those who are in thinking of Him. This constant thinking of Krishna is Smarana, one of the methods of devotion service. It's only by devotional service to Krishna that one can understand His position and get rid of this material body. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is accepted as the purest of the pure. As Arjuna also says, Param Brahma Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam. He is the Param Pavitra. It's not just Pavitra, it's Param Pavitra. One who understands that Krishna is the purest of the pure can become purified from all sinful activities. One cannot be disinfected from sinful activities unless he surrenders unto the Supreme Lord. Arjuna's acceptance of Krishna as a supreme pure complies with the injunction of the Vedic literature. This is also confirmed by great personalities, of whom Narad is the chief. So Arjuna had heard Narad, Asit, Deval, all the sages beforehand also about the qualities of Krishna. That's why he's quoting them over here. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one should always meditate upon Him and enjoy one's transcendental relationship with Him. He is a supreme existence. He is free from bodily needs, birth, and death. Not only does Arjuna confirm this, but all the Vedic literatures, the Puranas, and the histories. In all Vedic literatures, Krishna is thus described, and the Supreme Lord Himself also says in the 4th chapter, although I am unborn, I appear on this earth to establish religious principles. He is the supreme origin. He has no cause, for He is the cause of all causes, and everything is emanating from Him. This perfect knowledge can be had by the grace of the Supreme Lord. See, one cannot have knowledge about Him until he is blessed by the grace, by the mercy of Krishna. And without knowing Krishna, one cannot go back. So the key is the devotees of the Lord. They can, at least if they can give some knowledge, and they can engage us in the service of Krishna. And by being pleased by their service, or not even service, by our attitude of service, our sincerity in service, Krishna gets pleased. And then He can give us understanding by which we can go back. It's so simple. Here Arjuna expresses himself through the grace of Krishna. If we want to understand Bhagavad Gita, we should accept the statements in these two verses. This is called the Parampara system, acceptance of the disciplic succession. Unless one is in the disciplic succession, he cannot understand Bhagavad Gita. It's not possible by so-called academic education. Unfortunately, those proud of their academic education, despite so much evidence in Vedic literatures, stick to the Vedic verse. So those who just want to understand Krishna by studies of scriptures on their own, without following Guru Parampara, they cannot understand Krishna. Krishna is not to be known by mundane speculators, or like Prabhupada also called it, armchair speculators. Armchair speculators, people like to sit on that armchair, long chair, rock back and forth on it, and try to read Bhagavad Gita while sipping coffee or maybe sipping alcohol and smoking, and they're trying to read Bhagavad Gita, and then they make commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is that, Krishna is this. Krishna is the reality of God. He reserves his right not to be exposed to anyone who does not surrender, or who does not even. That's why to know Krishna, to understand Krishna, we have to approach him lovingly, humbly, with the proper mode. Then he will reveal everything. But the mood of surrender, mood of service has to be there. Text 14. Sarvam etad ritam manne yanmam vadasi keshava nahite bhagwan vyaktim vidur deva nadanavaha. Oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Why Arjun talks about demons? Demons are like, they are envious of Krishna, they are envious of Krishna's devotees. But actually, demons, although they are envious, although they are fighting with demigods, but they are better situated than us human beings. Knowledge-wise, body strength-wise, beauty-wise, everything. They're better situated. Only problem is they're not devotees. That's all. That's the only problem with the demons. They don't want to serve Krishna. So that's why Arjuna is saying, neither the demigods nor the demons, the Lord, can understand your personality. Even the demigods cannot. Because much of opulence, beauty-wise, money-wise, strength in the material world, they cannot understand his personality properly. Arjun herein confirms that persons of faithless and demonic nature cannot understand Krishna. He is not known even by the demigods, so what to speak of the so-called scholars of this modern world. By the grace of the Supreme Lord, Arjuna has understood that the supreme truth is Krishna, and that he is the perfect one. One should therefore follow the path of Arjuna. He received the authority of Bhagavad Gita as described in the 4th chapter. The Parampara system of disciplic succession for the was lost. And therefore Krishna re-established the disciplic succession with Arjuna, because he considered Arjuna his intimate friend and a great devotee. Therefore, as stated in our introduction to Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita should be understood in the Parampara system. When the Parampara system was lost, Arjuna was selected to rejuvenate it. The acceptance by Arjuna of all that Krishna says should be emulated. Then we can understand the essence of Bhagavad Gita, and then only can we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And like previously it is said, one who knows the opulences of Krishna, he will do nothing except surrendering unto him, except serving him. So knowing Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this is this is for the people who are in the very bhakti stage. We have to understand, we have to admit that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. We don't have that loving relationship with him yet. Like the cowherd boys, cowherd girls, Mother Yashoda and other parents, or other devotees in Vrindavan, they don't consider Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't know. They don't even think like that. Because they are in that loving relationship with Krishna. So that relationship will be hampered if they even come to know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. So that stage is very high. It's not for us to imitate. We have to understand our position. We can't even chant properly right now. Don't even know Krishna properly right now. Theoretically, we know Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's about it. Even that is by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Before Prabhupada, I never read this statement anywhere. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. All we heard of Krishna is God. That's it. But the way Prabhupada has explained the philosophy and tried to establish the position of Krishna, it's amazing. And that's when we follow Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's teachings, Prabhupada's philosophy, Prabhupada's example, we can at least have a chance of understanding Krishna. So Arjun further says, text 15, Swayamevatmanatmanam vetatam tvam purushottama bhutbhavan bhutesha dev dev jagatpate. Indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. So see what kind of words Arjuna is using for Krishna. Purushottam, Yabhut Bhavan, Yabhutesh, Dev Dev means Devo ke Dev, Jagat Pate. Of course, TV serial says Devo ke Dev is Mahadev. Of course, in one way he is also, but the real God of all gods is Krishna. Persons of demoniac or atheistic mentality cannot know Krishna. Mental speculation that leads one away from the Supreme Lord is a serious sin. And one who does not know Krishna should not try to comment on the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a statement of Krishna, and since it is a science of Krishna, it should be understood from Krishna as Arjuna understood it. It should not be received from atheistic persons. So Bhagavad Gita, it's the statement of Krishna. These are the instructions of Krishna to Arjuna, and through Arjuna to all of us actually. So everybody, they just get up, and because it's the most popular book, they just want to write a commentary on Bhagavad Gita from the way they have understood. But who asked them to misinterpret the words, the instructions of the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself? But they all believe, oh, I have a right to write. I have complete right. This is my Vishesh Adhikar to write a commentary on Bhagavad Gita. Gave you that right. People to give philosophy, but dictations by just putting the gun on Krishna's shoulder. They want to give their own stuff. and want to be popular. Because if they write their own wordings like that, nobody will read. But since they want to get popular, or at least people should recognize them, they say, oh, this is the commentary on Bhagavad Gita. If Bhagavad Gita is popular, so they say we will also become popular, no matter what we write. Who reads it anyway? And who reads it and who follows it? Nobody does. Except Srila Prabhupada. Look at his Bhagavad Gita. Millions and millions of copies have been sold. And still, I mean, every year, so many copies of Bhagavad Gita, millions of copies are sold every year, all over the world. No writer has been able to do that. Even 40 years after, since Srila Prabhupada has left, still Bhagavad Gita is being sold. People are reading it. People are appreciating the wording, the philosophy of Prabhupada. That's called potency. People who are living, the writers, even while living, they cannot sell any copies. And who would bother to sell their books after they are dead? Nobody. But here Prabhupada, because he wrote so pure commentaries, such purity is there, and that's why his books are still selling. People are getting benefited all over the world reading Prabhupada's books. They feel the connection with Prabhupada when they read Prabhupada's book. This is the potency. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vadanti tattva tattva vidas tattvam yadjnanam advyam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdete. The supreme truth is realized in three aspects: as impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and at last as a supreme personality of Godhead. So at the last stage of understanding the absolute truth, one comes to the supreme personality of Godhead. A common man or even a liberated man who has realized impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma may not understand God's personality. Such men, therefore, may endeavor to understand the Supreme Person from the verses of Bhagavad Gita, which are being spoken by this person, Krishna. Sometimes the impersonalists accept Krishna as Bhagwan or they accept his authority, yet many liberated persons cannot understand Krishna as Purushottam, the Supreme Person. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Purushottama, yet one still may not understand that Krishna is the father of all living beings. Therefore, Arjuna addresses him as Bhuta Bhavan. And if one comes to know him as the father of all living entities, still one may not know him as the supreme controller. Therefore, he is Bhutesha, the supreme controller of everyone. One knows Krishna as the supreme controller. Still, one may not know that he is the origin of all the demigods. Therefore, he is addressed herein as Deva Deva, the worshipful god of all demigods. And even if one knows him as a worshipful god of all demigods, one may not know that he is the supreme proprietor of everything. Therefore, he is addressed as Jagatpati. Thus, the truth about Krishna is established in this verse by the realization of Arjuna. And we should follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna as he is. But the problem is, those who don't have faith, they say, oh, these are just words of Arjuna, they don't mean anything. They don't care if Krishna is called by Arjuna as Bhuta Bhavan, Bhutesh, Dev, Jagatpati, Purushottama. Or in second chapter, first chapter, Arjuna called him with different names. We don't care. That's a problem with people who have no faith. Text 16. Vaktum arhasya sheshena divya hi atma vibhutaya yabhir vibhutir lokan imanstvam vyapyatishtasi. Please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these worlds. Now, Arjuna had understood who Krishna is. He called him with different potent names. But now he wants to see his divine opulences. Why? It's for us, so we can at least try to get a glimpse of the opulences, glimpse of the potencies of Krishna. So we appreciate him and appreciate his words, appreciate his promises made in Bhagavad Gita. In this verse, it appears that Arjuna is already satisfied with his understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. By Krishna's grace, Arjuna has personal experience, intelligence, and knowledge, and whatever else a person may have. And through all these agencies, he has understood Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of God. For him, there is no doubt, yet he is asking Krishna to explain his all pervading nature. People in general and the impersonalists in particular concern themselves mainly with the all pervading nature of the Supreme. So Arjuna is asking Krishna how he exists in his all pervading aspect through his different energies. One should know that this is being asked by by Arjuna on behalf of the common people. So similarly, Shukdev Goswami, he told Parikshit Maharaj, first he was talking about the universal form of the Supreme Lord. Just to make him understand the opulences of Krishna. And here also, here Arjuna is asking Krishna, you tell me how you pervade all these words. Means the universal form basically he wants to see and the potencies of Krishna. Text 17. Katham vidyam aham yogin stvam sada parichintayan keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintayasi bhagwan maya. O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of God? And Arjuna is further asking, okay, you show me your form, how you pervade the whole universe, and how you want me to remember you. Krishna only can decide or tell us for sure what's the best for us. So he will explain everything. As it is stated in the previous chapter, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by his Yoga Maya. Only surrendered souls and devotees can see him. Now, Arjuna is convinced that his friend Krishna is the Supreme Godhead, but he wants to know the general process by which the all pervading Lord can be understood by the common man. Common men, including the demons and atheists, cannot know Krishna because he is guarded by his Yoga Maya energy. Again, these questions are asked by Arjuna for their benefit. The supreme devotee is concerned not only for his own understanding, but for the understanding of all mankind. So Arjuna, out of his mercy, because he is a Vaishnava, a devotee is opening for the common man the understanding of the all-pervasiveness of the Supreme Lord. He addresses Krishna specifically as Yogin because Sri Krishna is a master of the Yoga Maya energy by which is covered and uncovered to the common man. The common man who has no love for Krishna cannot always think of Krishna. Therefore, he has to think materially. Arjuna is considering the mode of thinking of the materialistic person of this world. The word keshu keshu cha bhaveshu refers to material nature. The word bhav means physical thing. Because materialists cannot understand Krishna spiritually, they are advised to concentrate the mind on physical things and try to see how Krishna is manifested by physical representations. So Krishna will explain in very little detail here, summarizes. But we are fortunate that we studied Shukdev Goswami, how he explained Krishna in the universal form. When we see, like when he said the Rasatal planets are all the atheists and demons, I think they take shelter at the Rasatal planet, and like mountains are his bones, and the rivers are his veins. And the clouds, we read, they are the hair of the universal form. So basically, anything and everything that we see, we should be able to appreciate it, that how it is related to Krishna. The trees we see are like hairs in the body of the Lord, of the universal form. And similarly, the stars, all the planets that we see, wherever they are situated, if we can remember that universal form. So here also, Arjun is asking for the benefit of whom? Benefit of materialistic people, because they cannot understand the physical, the absolute form of Krishna. So they have to try to see him through the material form. How all the elements are situated in Krishna. Text 18. Vistarenatmano yogam vibhutim cha janardana bhuya kathaya triptirhi shanvato nasti me mritam. O Janardan, again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I'm never satiated in hearing about you, for the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So that's a sign of a very advanced devotee actually. Arjuna said, more I hear, more I want to taste the nectar of your words. I'm never satisfied hearing about you. That's advancement. A similar statement was made to Sutta Goswami by the sages of Naimisharanya headed by Shaunak. That statement is Vayam tuna vitripayama uttam shlok vikarane yashanvatam rasagyanam swadu swadu pade pade. One can never be satiated even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into a transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. Srimad Bhagavatam 1119. Thus Arjuna is interested in hearing about Krishna and specifically how he remains as the all-pervading Supreme Lord. Now, as far as Amritam, nectar is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar. And this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. Of course, for those who have attained the taste for hearing about Krishna. Mundane stories, how many times we can read or hear about any story that we really loved it, but after a while it gets boring. Any major incident, say movies or sports or politics or any business, anywhere, how many times we can listen to the same thing over and over? Not many times. But Krishna's pastimes, they can be heard over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
They really satisfy, and they're nectar. Nectar, it doesn't mean just sweet. Nectar means amrit. Amrit means which never dies, and with the listener also never dies. That's how sweet it is. Just like, even if we consider, although there is no comparison, no consideration of time, but still, even if we consider this time, this sequence of time, Lord Ram's pastimes happened about 20 lakh years ago. And still people talk about Ram Leela and and the pastimes of Hanumanji, Angad, Lakshman, all these pastimes, still they hear, still they talk about it, and still they relish it. 20 lakh years. That's a long time. Here in these days, anything that can last more than 20 years, that will be considered very great. 20 lakh years. People have been relishing the pastimes of Lord Ram because those are not mundane or material talks, mundane pastimes of some king. No, they're the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. So the pastimes of Krishna or Ram are not different from. So that's why they are ever fresh and they give the same potency no matter when, how many times we hear about it. Now, as far as Amritam is concerned, any narration or statement concerning Krishna is just like nectar, and this nectar can be perceived by practical experience. Modern stories, fiction, and histories are different from the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, in that one will tire of hearing mundane stories, but one never tires of hearing about Krishna. It's for this reason only that the history of the whole universe is replete with references to the pastimes of the incarnation of Godhead. The Puranas are histories of bygone ages that relate the pastimes of the various incarnations of the Lord. In this way, the reading matter remains forever fresh despite repeated readings. Despite repeated over and over read, and again, person can enjoy more than when he reads it again. Text 19, Krishna says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Hantate Kathiyashyami Divya Hyatma Vibhutaya Pradhanyataha Kurushreshta Nasti Anto Vistarasya Me. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestations, but only of those which are prominent. O Arjun, for my opulence is limitless. Here, Krishna is clearly telling Arjun, and through Arjun to all of us, that his opulence is limitless. There is no limit, there is no end. And this is what Tulsidas ji also said, no? Hari Ananda Hari Katha Ananda. He is Anand, he is unlimited. Although Krishna, when he is standing before Arjun, somebody will say, oh, he is limited. He is just this person standing on the chariot and basically riding the chariot, driving the chariot of Arjun. Just a person. But we have to understand Krishna when he comes as person also. He is Supreme Bhagavan himself. Even though when he appeared from the womb of Devaki and then he transferred to Gokul, and then he was a little baby, but 6 days old baby, and he killed Putana, one of the biggest demonesses, Rakshashis. Krishna didn't even increase his size to kill Putana. And when Putana died, Putna, when she was suffering, when she was really going through hell, when Krishna was trying to suck the blood out of milk out of her breast, Putna came to her original form, and when Krishna killed her, Putna fell down, and her body was 12 miles long. That's how tall she was. And she fell down 12 miles long. And Krishna never even expanded his body size. He was still a 6 days old baby. So for him, he is always a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not have to do any yoga to increase the size of his body, to get some special powers or anything. No. All the powers are with him, no matter what body form or what pastimes he's displaying. Doesn't matter. That's why it says, my opulence is limitless. To comprehend the greatness, the senses of the individual soul are limited and do not permit him to understand the totality of Krishna's affairs. Still, the devotees try to understand Krishna, but not on the principle that they will be able to understand Krishna fully at any specific time or in any state of life. Rather, the very topics of Krishna are so relishable that they appear to the devotees as nectar. Thus, the devotees enjoy them. In discussing Krishna's opulences and his diverse energies, the pure devotees take transcendental pleasure. Therefore, they want to hear and discuss them. Krishna knows that living entities do not understand the extent of his opulences. He therefore agrees to state only the principal manifestations of his different energies. So he says, I'll only talk about some principal manifestations, nothing else. The word pradhanayata, principle, is very important because we can understand only a few of the principal details of the Supreme Lord, for his features are unlimited. It's not possible to understand them all. And vibhuti, as used in this verse, refers to the opulence by which he controls the whole manifestation. In the Amar Kosha dictionary, it is stated that vibhuti indicates an exceptional opulence. So vibhuti means exceptional opulence or some specific opulence that Krishna is going to reveal to Arjuna. The impersonalist or pantheist cannot understand the exceptional opulences of the Supreme Lord, nor the manifestations of his divine energies. Both in the material world and in the spiritual world, his energies are distributed in every variety of manifestation. Now, Krishna is describing what can be directly perceived by the common man. Thus part of his variegated energy is described in this way. So now he will start describing some of his opulences. Text 20. Aham atma gudakesha sarvabhuta shayastita aham adishcha madhyam cha bhutanamanta eva cha. I am the super soul, O Arjun, seated in the hearts of all living entities. I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all beings. So Krishna, although he is Krishna, he is sitting on the chariot of Arjun, but he is saying, I am the super soul also, I am the Paramatma. In this verse, Arjun is addressed as Gudakesh. The Gudakesh word has come in second chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, where Krishna addressed Arjun as Gudakesh. Gudakesh means one who has conquered the darkness of sleep. For those who are sleeping in the darkness of ignorance, it's not possible to understand how the Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests himself in various ways in the material and spiritual worlds. Thus, this address by Krishna to Arjuna is significant. Because Arjuna is above such darkness, the personality of Godhead agrees to describe his various opulences. So Arjuna had this eligibility to understand Krishna because he was not in any ignorance. That's why we always pray to Gurudev, pray to Prabhupada, that Om Agyan Timrandasya, that I was born into the mode of darkness, into the darkness of ignorance. But you, with your torchlight of light of knowledge, have opened my eyes. So thanks to you, I worship you. So we worship Prabhupada every day, worship Guru, that by their mercy our eyes have been opened. So here Krishna also says, until you are, until you have some eligibility, you won't be able to understand. Arjun was eligible, Arjun was qualified. So we have to develop, make ourselves qualified to understand Krishna. And that can happen only by mercy of Guru. So he, by his instructions, by his knowledge, can open our eyes, can make us understand who we are, who Krishna is, and then Krishna can give more knowledge, uh, more realizations, more revelations by which we can know him. Krishna first informs Arjuna that he is the soul of the entire cosmic manifestation by dint of his primary expansion, Brahma. Before the material creation, the Supreme Lord, by his plenary expansions, accepts the Purusha incarnations, and from him everything begins. Therefore, he is Atma, the soul of the Mahatattva, the universal elements. The total material energy is not the cause of the creation. Actually, Mahavishnu enters into the Mahatattva, the total material energy. He is the soul. When Mahavishnu enters into the manifested universes, he again manifests himself as a super soul in each and every entity. We have experienced that the personal body of the living entity exists due to the presence of the spiritual spark. Without the existence of spiritual spark or the Jivatma, the body cannot develop. Similarly, the material manifestation cannot develop unless the Supreme Soul, Krishna, enters. So Krishna himself doesn't even enter. He lets one of his expansions, Mahavishnu, enter and develop the material manifestation. As stated in Shabda Upanishad, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is existing as a super soul in all manifested universes. The three Purusha avatars are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They are also described in Narad Pancharatra, one of the Sattvat Tantras. The Supreme Personality of Godhead manifests three features as Karanadaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, and Shiradaksha Vishnu in this material manifestation. The Mahavishnu or Karanadaksha Vishnu is described in the Brahma Samhita. Ya Karanarnam Jale Bhajati Sma Yoga Nidram. The Supreme Lord Krishna, the cause of all causes, lies down in the cosmic ocean as Mahavishnu. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the beginning of this universe, the maintainer of the universal manifestations, and the end of all energy. So, here also he describes his opulences. Why? Because then and then only one can bow down, one can surrender, one can try to follow the instructions. Because without opulences, if he just shows his sweet form as Krishna, not too many people will get attracted, or they'll get attracted, but they'll not follow the instructions. Just to follow the instruction means some authority has to be there. So Krishna is basically establishing his position as authority. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Subbu Prabhu, we need your help. We need your expert comments.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
No questions. Thank you for a wonderful lecture. Just one doubt. When we when we say the Lord is looked at in three forms, either in the form of the personal Lord and then Brahm Jyoti and as Paramatma in the heart. Uh, You referred to the Paramatma, the the personal one as the most advanced, because people generally don't they can't relate with the personal. It is easier the other way. Is it not that it is easier to conceptualize a Lord rather than a formless Lord? So should it not be the other way, that it is more difficult to think about something that is that cannot be conceptualized easily? Paramatma in heart, obviously, that is more from emotion point of view. So obviously that is fine. Everybody has got emotions and feelings, so that comes probably naturally. But the other one, um, is it not easy for us to conceptualize a form rather than formless?
The universal form,
Yeah.
um, it's for, like Prabhupada has explained here, and Srila Goswami also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's for people who are very much in the beginning. They cannot relate with Krishna as person. For those who find it easy to relate with Krishna as a person, maybe they're not neophytes. Maybe they have already passed, surpassed that stage in the previous lifetimes. But many times, according to scriptures, so it's not easy for person to have that relationship with Krishna as a person. It's not easy. That's why it's as the, okay, start off somewhere. So that's how they start.
Yeah, that is precisely my point. Being naturally emotional, we human beings, is it not easy for us to be conceptualizing a form in the form of a person with stories, rather than a universal form which is basically the whole universe? Does that not require more of a understanding of the world as a whole, how the Lord pervades the whole world? Otherwise, naturally being emotional, is it not easy for us to identify, or have one supreme Lord as our role model? So that's what I was thinking.
Well, everybody is at different level. So for people who have made progress, this is what in 12th chapter Krishna says, Kleshva Dittarastesham Avyaktasakta Chetasam. For those who have the bodies, for them it's very difficult to concentrate on something without the body, without the form. But yes, it is, and very difficult to make progress that way. But that is for people who have already made some progress. Now, this is for people who have no idea. Let them at least worship nature, which also is a form of Krishna. So everybody's progress is different. Everybody's at different stage. Let them make progress from that stage onwards. That's my understanding. I could be wrong.
No, no, that makes sense, because, as you rightly said, in the 12th chapter, the Lord talks about the difficulty of concentrating on multiple forms or formlessness rather than one personal form. So, if it
Yeah.
is difficult, logically it would mean that the common man would find it more difficult to start with the universal form. So, if we are talking about neophyte, a neophyte would find it more difficult to concentrate on multiple form of formlessness rather than a personal form, uh, which you can emotionally connect with, whether in the form of a small boy, or as a 400 form, or a divine boy, or as Keshav, as Krishna in Mahabharata. So that was my point. Obviously,
I
I didn't
know, I
probably.
understand, I understand. But we are trying to think that those people who, from our perspective, we are thinking that they are neophytes, but maybe they are not neophytes. Neophytes could be those who cannot have any concept of God as a person. Talk about outside India, people outside India. Even in India also, but let's talk about people outside India. They have no concept of God as a person. So at least start off somewhere.
Hmm.
So
Right.
this is the beauty of Krishna's teachings. Everybody has a place in it. It's not like Krishna could have said my way or highway. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. That's why there's no place of fanaticism or other ideas in bhakti. Everything is related to Krishna. Start off somewhere, no problem.
Yeah. In one of the verses, he says, no, whichever way you worship, it reaches me only. So, ye pi anna devata.
Yeah,
So,
Avidipur when he talks
yeah.
about that, yeah. So at
So
least
that
start off somewhere, no problem.
that shows the accommodative nature, isn't it?
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you, Prabhu. Any other question or comment? So I guess we can stop here. You all have a wonderful Saturday.
Hare Krishna.